Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Community Works. I'm Bernadette Welsh, your host. Each one of our shows highlights a local nonprofit agency in our community. Our goal is to educate you, our viewers, about the great work that's going on all around us every day by local agencies and their supporters. When people help their neighbors, everybody benefits. The focus of today's show is an amazing organization called SARA, Inc. And I want to get this right, so I'm going to look down at my notes. This organization provides educational and transitional services for individuals who have various degrees of abilities. And I'm so glad that our guests are going to here today to tell us all about how that works. So I'd like to welcome to the show George Reed Perry, and he is the Director of Adult Services, and Julie Hall, who takes care of the Children and Family Services. And I'm so glad that you're here. You're going to educate us all about these wonderful programs. So George, can I start with you? Could you give our viewers who might not know as much as you do about SARA what the mission is and maybe a little bit of the history of the organization?
Sure. So thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
SARA Inc. as an organization has been around for just about 65 years now. It started when 3 families recognized the needs for their adult children to kind of have the opportunities that others were going to have, and focusing really on the educational aspect of when they graduated from high school. And over the years, the organization has transitioned from just focusing on the educational piece, but really expanding into vocational services, as well as early intervention services. And so now we're an organization that operates within about 50 towns within the state of Connecticut, offering early intervention services and then services for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So our philosophy, our mission as an organization is enhancing skills and transforming lives of individuals with differing abilities.
Excellent, right. So does it go from young children and all the way up to adults?
So great question. Our services primarily focus on birth to 3, so 0 to age 3. And then we pick up services when people are transitioning out of high school around age 22 through the end of life.
Excellent, very good. Okay, so that gives us a little bit of an overview. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the very important programs that each one of you focus on. I'm going to change it up a little bit. Julie, I'm going to start with you. Would you tell us about what you take care of for the Children and Family Services?
Sure. So Children and Family Services holds a contract with the state to provide early intervention services for the Connecticut Birth to 3 system. And that means that we provide services to help support not just the children, but the families. And so we're there to help build the capacity of the parents or caregivers to be able to support the young children that has a delay or a disability. So we serve anytime that whenever somebody makes a referral, we will evaluate their child to make sure that they qualify for the program, and then be able to get started with whatever their priorities are. And it's all family driven. The priorities are based on what the families want to have happen.
So maybe a pediatrician might say to the mom, you know, we have something here we can help your child with, and I'm going to refer you to SARA, and there are great people there. They're going to interview you, and then SARA will see what they can do. So is that kind of how it works?
Kind of how it works. It can be anybody can make a referral to Birth to 3.
Anybody can make
so
a
a
referral.
parent, a neighbor, a child care provider, the pediatrician, a specialist. It doesn't have to be just the doctor's office.
Okay.
And all the referrals go in through a central line, through 211 info line, the child development side of info line, and then they get placed with different agencies that are contracted to provide services. So agencies like SARA Inc. Depends on which town you're in, whether you provide those services.
I like that 211 thing that you just said, Julie, because a lot of people don't realize that calling 211 can get you a whole array of help in the state of Connecticut.
Absolutely.
So I'm very glad that you mentioned that. So thank you. All right, George, we're getting back to you.
Sure.
So adult services, young people, tell us about your program that you're highlighting today.
Yeah, certainly. So when it comes to adult services, our focus is really on the vocational aspect of it, but also looking at recreational and volunteer opportunities for individuals. And so some individuals will come into services and they're looking to expand their vocational career, whether that be the first time that they've kind of gone down that path, or they're looking for a new opportunity to work. And so we will work with them and bring them into what's called our transitional program, where we're focused on job skill building, and they're offered a variety of opportunities within the local community to work on skills that are going to be important for them when they take that next step into what's called individualized or group employment, where they're working with an employer in the community and really kind of transitioning into adulthood. Our other services are focused on some of our individuals who've decided to retire or those who are looking for a different pace and looking to volunteer only. And so we really provide kind of both ends of the spectrum when it comes to volunteering, work opportunities, and those who are looking for skill building to maintain that independence that they have in the community.
Okay, so a kid goes through high school, and then we all know some kids go to trade school, and some kids go to college, and some kids don't do anything. But there are kids that need some specialized services, and I think that's
Correct.
what you're talking about.
Correct.
So they might need help with how to go through an interview, or they might need some special training because there's an organization who will hire them if they get the extra vocational help that Sarah offers.
Absolutely. And so, we really look at what are the supports that that particular individual needs. And so, like you mentioned, that may be with some interviewing supports, that may be with helping them write a resume, that may be, looking at what is that next step that you're going to need. Is it some on-the-job supports? Is it, just some drop-in where, hey, I'm really good at this job, but every once in a while I need a little bit of additional help.
Okay, and now what about the ending part that you were telling about the volunteers?
Yep. So we also have opportunities for individuals to volunteer if that's something that they're interested in doing. That's something that we offer in our day program. So we have 3 programs located in Westbrook, Madison, and North Haven, where individuals will come for the day, and we're able to provide them those community experiences so that they can get out into the community and they can volunteer, as well as work on some skill building, which is very much individualized based on kind of what they need and where they are in their life.
Okay, that's very interesting because that's a lot. I didn't know all of that. That's very good. So we have the whole lifespan
Correct.
of people that might need a little bit of assistance.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
great. Because wouldn't it be boring if we're all the same?
I
You know-
agree.
We all thought the same way. We all, we don't want that. We want to have a community that's vibrant and diversified, and that we just need to I think we all need to recognize the beauty of the diversity of ways that people think and act and do. So that's why I really think that what Sarah's doing is just wonderful. So thank you so much. All right, so now we've done that. We might go back a little bit when we look at some pictures, so we'll come back.
Sure.
But right now, who would like to tell us first how the community can support Sarah Inc.?
Yeah, so I'll speak for the adult services portion.
Yes.
I think when it comes to the community and what they can do for us, it's certainly looking at when we're looking to kind of find employers who are kind of looking for those employees, looking at the job market, being open to, bringing someone in who may not have a traditional path to employment, and recognizing that, we as an organization are able to support individuals who are interested in getting into the job market for the first time, and recognizing that there's lots of value that many of our individuals bring to that particular employer, whether it be longer, a longevity within that career, or helping them look at it a different way when it comes to completing some jobs. And so for us, it's being open to that new opportunity, being open to allowing us to volunteer so we can work on some of those job transitional skills as well.
So you're looking for the employers to partner with Sarah to understand that they're helping themselves by getting a good employee.
Correct.
But you're also helping the individuals that you serve to learn how to do certain things by working there.
Absolutely.
Like I saw a picture in this wonderful brochure about somebody working at the Madison Beach Hotel.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes.
Because there's lots of things that anybody could do, but that person is trained to do that.
Absolutely, and that's really what we focus on when it comes to the community of, learning what are the needs of those particular businesses, and then recognizing, okay, so we may have an individual who has a particular interest that aligns with kind of their need, and really saying, okay, here's an individual who has expressed interest. They can come in and do their interview. They can do kind of a working interview, kind of see the job in action, and then between the employer and the individual, they can decide, is that an agreement just like anybody else as far as formal employment that they want to enter.
Great. So, Julie, how else could the community support Sarah? I mean, from your perspective, from the family services, could you give us an idea of how that support might look? What would it look like?
So
what could it look like?
I think that there's a few different things we could think about. One is that because our services are provided in the community and in natural environments, we're not in a location. We do not operate in a building, in a house, unless it's a child's house. We're not in one place. So I think sometimes for us, the support can be allowing us to rent space or borrow space to hold meetings for our staff to come together to be able to support the children that we're supporting and the families. We have to team, and that's part of best practices, is to be able to bring in the speech therapists and the PTs and the OTs and the teachers and the behaviorists and social workers or mental health providers. Bring them all together to talk about what's going on with a child and family, and families participate in that too if they'd like. But you need a physical space because we're spread out across, as George said, 50 towns in Connecticut. Each team finds community locations. So that's one way to be able to help support us if somebody has a great space that they are willing to let us utilize weekly.
Great, okay.
That's one opportunity.
That's one.
Another opportunity is through donation, because we don't have a physical space. We are mobile, and that means taking technology out into the field with us. There are many things that we have to stay current with to be able to do that. So whether it's being able to provide technology for our staff to do the work in the field, whether it's training to be able to learn and stay current with the best practices that we can employ for the families. We want to give, as we said earlier, we want to give the families that we serve and the individuals that we serve the best of what we can. And you can't do that by staying stagnant. You need to be, and that requires funding.
And that requires funding for sure.
It does.
That
So-
does. Do you folks get any help from the state of Connecticut or local governments or folks, or is it strictly personal donations that you get to help fund Sarah?
So I think it's a combination. So some of our funding is very much state within adult services, where individuals are receiving supports through the state, and that's how they receive the support.
They get the fund. Okay,
Correct,
got it.
correct. But we've also had a great relationship with a lot of the local communities, whether it being a Lions Club or companies that offer grants and things like that. And so when there's an opportunity for us to apply for a grant, we've been very fortunate to receive a number of grants over the years that have allowed us to really kind of expand the services that we're providing and provide some of that extra enrichment that we can't normally do. And so, it may be offering nutritional training for a lot of our individuals. So to kind of really help them understand when I'm out in the grocery store and I'm looking to shop, how do I kind of navigate the grocery store? What are things that I should be looking for? And then how do I, cook a healthy meal for myself when I'm at home? Physical fitness is also a big piece of it, and so we have partners in the community who will come in and provide some of that training. And a lot of those opportunities are covered under grants that we receive from local towns or local clubs.
Great. So there's personal donations, there's grants, there's cooperation with folks providing space. That's a gift, right? To provide space is a gift. It's just very, what were you about to say, Julie?
The Birth to Three side, the early intervention side of our business, is also funded through Medicaid and through insurance.
Okay.
They provide, it's a fee-for-service based model, so that when we provide a service, they reimburse for that service at a rate defined by the state. So there is that. In addition to the, like George said, about grants, we've been very fortunate to have some great supporters in the community to help us with those, because times are tough everywhere, and I don't think it's any different at Sarah Inc. than anywhere else in terms of state funding or federal funding.
Excellent. Yeah, that's true. There's so many companies and organizations I interview, and they all give me a certain similar vibe. It's like, Bernadette, we just really need help.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to spark somebody into thinking this is where I want to help. That's great. Okay, so we talked about why, I think we did. We talked about community sport, we talked about why it's so important, and we talked about how it all comes together with people helping out Sarah in the ways that you outlined. So that's super duper. Okay, so now we're going to come to our show and tell part of the program. And my wonderful director, Victor, is going to put up some images that you folks have provided for us. And we're going to explain to our viewers what they're looking at. So Victor, okay, this is for you, Julie. What are we looking at?
Well, this is actually one of our recent success stories here that is going on. This family had set a goal that they wanted for their daughter to be able to expand and eat vegetables that she was refusing to eat at the time. And this you'll see is Rosalie and her mom Paige and her dad Blaine, and they got together with their therapist and talked through the challenges that they were facing. And in Bertha 3, you're providing services in natural environments. This was the family's priority.
Yeah.
This is something they wanted to do. This is their kitchen.
Wow.
And they had brought together the resources that they wanted to, and their therapist coached them through this activity. And they had talked about it, the parents and the therapist, before they ever got there, and really started thinking about what it is that we could do to help encourage more vegetable use. So in fact, this is a success story where not only was it vegetables that were
Looks
sort
like
of hidden.
a pizza to me.
Yeah, the vegetables are hidden under the cheese, from what I understand.
The vegetables under the cheese.
And the big success is she had not had pepperoni before, and I hear she loves the pepperoni now that she's had this pizza. So
wow.
this was a real win for their family, and so by default, that's a win for us too.
That's a win for you. And look at the
Absolutely.
smile. Look at the smile on that beautiful girl's face.
Yes.
That's great. Okay, here, what do we have here? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so this is a young lady that's in our adult services program. She is receiving support through our employment department. And so her path within the organization, she's been with us for just under a year now. And she has a passion for cooking, specifically baking. And it was something that she wanted to take from being a passion and turn it into an actual career. And so she had put together a portfolio of things that she had made in her own home so that when she went out on job interviews, she could showcase kind of what her skill set was. And, you know, she was someone who really was motivated to kind of land specifically within a bakery and received about 4 offers within a couple of months. And, you know, she and her team sat down and talked about kind of the pros and the cons of each location, what would work, what were the things that she was able to accomplish, and would she be able to kind of expand what she already knew within that location. And so she's now employed at Sheena Bees, which is a local bakery in the Westbrook area. And so now, you know, she's gone from kind of looking at just the components of what am I able to make, but also expanding her skill set into, you know, learning the register and improving her customer service skills.
Excellent. So a quick question before we move on. How do folks get to their things? Do they take the bus? Is there transportation that's involved?
Yep, so we work with everyone when they're receiving their individualized employment supports to learn how to navigate the community. That's a very important component of it because they need to have that level of independence in order to get to their employer. And so sometimes that might be travel training to navigate the bus system. If they're on a train line, it could be the train line or something like Uber or walking. And so we really kind of work with the individual, say, that's great that you found this particular place that you want to work.
Yeah,
how are we going to get there?
You there?
Yeah, so I mean, it can certainly pose some challenges depending on kind of where that individual works and where their job is located. But we certainly are motivated to kind of assist them in that process.
Love it, love it. Okay, this is the wonderful logo for Sarah Inc., and I love what it says: enhance the skills and transform the lives of all individuals with differing abilities. Respect and dignity, integrity, the highest of standards. That's just awesome. And what are we looking at here, Julie? I think this is one of yours.
This is definitely one of mine. So, excuse me, as we were speaking before, our services are provided in natural learning environments. So they could be in a child care center, they could be in a family's home, they could be at a playground, they could be at the dentist or the hair salon, all those places that parents go with their kids or that caregivers take their children. And so this is essentially to outline just that it's not one environment. We're out in the community, we are wherever children are with their families. And that means supporting them so that families are their child's best advocate and resource. So our goal is really to help coach that parent and build their capacity to support their child. And that's what you're seeing here. Right. This is about how do they interact within the environment that the parents have prioritized and interact in a way that is most meaningful to them and that gives them the most success. So that coaching could come from any professional. It could be, like I said, any of those disciplines, speech therapists, physical therapists, teachers, etc. And it just depends on what the family needs and what the right match is. And
wow.
That's what we do, is put people together.
I love it. And I think the photograph illustrates that interaction between caregiver and child, which is awesome. All right, what do we have here? Who are we looking at? I think this might be yours, George.
Yeah, so this is a snapshot of our website, and it really talks about kind of what you're going to be able to find there. And so we have an overview where you can navigate to the services that we're providing. We have a section that talks about, what's happening within the organization, a way to contact us. We certainly have our opportunity to donate. And there's also, under the contact section, any job openings that we may have. So we really try to kind of provide that full overview of the organization, opportunities that are there, and how we're also actively engaged in our community of things that are occurring for us.
Excellent, very excellent. Okay, do we have anything else? No, I think that's about it. Okay, so we shared that. Now, I know we showed your success story with the little girl and the pizza, but how does that success not only benefit that little girl, but how does that success benefit, would you think, in your opinion, Julie, the wider community? In other words, there's success on many levels is what I'm trying to get at.
So if we were to take that one scenario and a child who's expanding their food diversity and range that they're eating, the long-term ramifications are going to be health benefits, educational benefits. A child that's nourished properly is going to be able to interact in the school system in a way that they're going to get the most out of it, which is, we see that food insecurity elsewhere is a big challenge for other reasons. So if you can have a moment with a family and build their capacity to help their child expand upon their food and be able to get the nutritional needs that they need, you're a lot likelier to have a much more healthy child, a well-adjusted child, one that can benefit from the education opportunities that they're afforded.
I agree.
And then long term, it's a healthier adult.
Yes, and that's a win for society because less maybe diabetes, less obesity, less stress on our hospitals and our schools, and of course on the individual. But for the wider community, supporting Sarah, helping Sarah to do these things for individuals also makes our community better. And also it's cost effective. It's definitely cost effective. Okay, so George, would you tell us about the upcoming event that you were telling me about called Make a Difference?
Yeah, thank you. So we have a campaign that will be launching in November. It's called the Make a Difference campaign, and it will run for the month of November until Giving Tuesday, which is November 29th. Giving Tuesday is something that was implemented a couple years ago, kind of in the spirit of Thanksgiving and giving back to the community and recognizing, community members are looking for that organization that they want to support in their local area. And so, we started this campaign a couple years ago to kind of put ourselves out there, kind of certainly broadcast what we're doing, with our early intervention services, but also the opportunities that exist for the adults that we're working with as well. And so that's something that we'll be doing the entire month of November, and that link will be available on our website as well in the coming weeks.
The website, yes, the website. So you did show us that page from the website, and now you highlighted that Make a Difference will be on the website.
Correct.
Can people just learn about Sarah by going to the website? In other words, it'll just explain things to folks that might want to learn more.
Sure. Yeah, that's certainly something that they can find on their website. It's going to be under the Services tab, and that's going to really provide an overview of our organization, the services that we provide, and they can certainly learn about our history as well.
Great. So they can find out about your children's programs, and they can find out about all the great programs right on the website. That's amazing. All right, Julie, can you talk? We were talking about this before the show, about how you feel about the benefits of SARA. And so for the future plans of SARA, could you tell our viewers what you were telling me about before the show?
Well, I think one of the things I'd say is that we have a phenomenal staff at SARA Inc. We have a group of dedicated professionals who are knowledgeable, who want to do the best they can for the families and individuals that we serve. They're dedicated. You can't ask for a better staff. And so we want to be able to do things that will help support them in the work that they're doing, grow their professional career as they wish it to be, and also to grow our staff. We're always recruiting and looking for other like-minded individuals. So that's one. In addition to that, as I said before, we are very committed to providing the highest quality services, and we want to be a premier agency, and we are. We
Yes,
want to continue
you
to be
are.
a premier agency in the area. And in order to do that, you need to be able to invest in the program, invest in the people, and that's something we've got commitment to do.
So your future plans are to perhaps raise some funds to be able to do what you're just talking about supporting your staff, growing your staff, and keeping it up.
Providing them with training, any training that they may need to know. There's always new things that are coming through, and the evidence and research is showing is going to make a difference. And we want to make sure that those families and individuals have everything they can possibly have to get to where they need to go.
Great, and that relates to the quality of your staff. So
Absolutely.
that is absolutely great.
Absolutely.
Okay, Victor, I think we have a screen that you were so clever to create that gives us the basics of SARA Inc. There it is. Look at that. I love it. So SARA Inc., you can go to www.sarainc.org. Makes sense. And one of the great locations is 1620 Boston Post Road in Westbrook, Connecticut. But obviously there's North Haven and
our Madison location
and
as well.
Madison. So but there's a phone number. So if you just want to call, give a call to that number, and you will be able to connect with the great people of SARA. So we're coming to the end of our program, and I'm so glad that you folks were able to join me. I learned a lot, and I think our viewers learned a lot. And, you know, it would be a pretty dull world if we were all the same. So SARA celebrates diversity. It celebrates people's ability levels by bringing them up to where they want to be, to what they want to do, so that they're not hemmed in by misconceptions or prejudices or just a lack of knowledge of what an individual can do. We all need help, we all need support. It's just different kinds of support for different people. So I hope you've enjoyed our show with SARA Inc. Thank you, George and Julie, for your wonderful knowledge giving and explaining to us what SARA does. We really appreciate it. And hope you get lots of support from this show. So, I'm Bernadette Welsh with Community Works. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. And remember, when people help their neighbors, everybody benefits. We'll see you again real soon.